Yeah.
All right. We're live.
All right.
So now it says that we're supposed to start with a prayer. So
Yeah. I'll say it.
I'll say it.
If,
All right. Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this day, and we're grateful for the opportunity we have to meet together and be able to do schoolwork. Father, bless us with thy spirit, and that we will continue to learn and be educated. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 All right. So then it says to
Spiritual thought.
Share spiritual thought.
I've got one here. If you guys are cool with that.
Yeah, sure.
So it actually kind of comes from sacrament meeting today, but getting prepared for general conference and just having prophets and apostles and revelation available to us today. One of our actually sacrament meeting was awesome. I'm in a singles ward here in Nashville, and they've got so the bishopric members, all of their wives spoke today, and so it was like a powerhouse sacrament meeting.
Right.
One of them told the story about the guy who was, being a missionary and telling his friend or neighbor or whoever about, general conference. And that guy goes, wait, you mean to tell me that you've got a prophet of God who's sharing living, like actual revelation in our day, like right now? And he said, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. He said, well, what did he say at the last one? And the guy, he didn't know what to say. He couldn't think of one talk or anything specific. And I thought about it, that's probably
Put you on the spot.
And so I guess, and her message was, about listening and being prepared and in tune with the Spirit, and coming with questions and those types of things. But I guess that's kind of my message to you is we have living revelation today. That's what separates us from the rest of Christianity is living prophets and apostles. And that's a big deal. And I think we take it for granted. I personally take it for granted a lot because I was raised, just being surrounded by it. But I think just kind of having that added sense of respect and understanding of what's going on this next weekend and preparing myself and ourselves, with questions and being worthy of receiving answers to questions and concerns and different things like that. I think that's important. So that's my spiritual thought.
Cool.
Awesome. So Devin, that being said, what was the last thing the prophet said to the world?
Oh, shoot, now I'm nervous.
I'm just kidding. That's funny though. Just like it puts you on the spot and you're just like, oh, but yeah, that's funny. Yeah. It's a good story.
Yeah, so I guess we can just take turns doing spiritual thoughts. I can do it next time.
Okay.
Let's see. All right, so it says vote individually. What grade would you give the founders of Rent the Runway for their work in starting Rent the Runway? Probably A.
Yeah, I would definitely say an A.
I think it's a genius idea.
Yeah, very. It solves a problem. I think it's like deeper than just like a solution. It's like actually getting down to deep like emotions within a need. And I think that's the best idea. So I give them an A.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really smart, like how they just like girls can, you can rent a $1,500 dress for like $100. You know, like barely anyone can even afford that kind of dress. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, especially having it based in Manhattan and everything, like it's gonna get a ton of business. So, and I think it's
Yeah.
smart. I think it's smart on the end of the designers too to use that website because, like, you have like the younger women wearing those designer dresses, and then like people are gonna see them wearing their brands, you know, and then
Right.
Yeah.
and then people will buy the dresses at full price who have the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was also thinking about it. I think it's also a good marketing strategy for the designers, because you've got these girls who become loyal to your brand, and then when they marry a wealthy guy or when they like retire or whatever, and then they do have the money, then they can afford to buy it, and they're loyal to your brand because they were able to try it out instead of getting used to the, you know, the knockoff or the, you know, TJ Maxx or whatever that they can afford when they're young.
Right.
So.
That's a good point.
Yeah, the next question, it says, what specifically did you see as most effective? You guys kind of talked about that. What I thought was most effective was how they went about, I guess their business model was to provide an experience for each woman. And really, and it talks about this in the case study, is that like they had, like they first kind of focused on the prices, and then they realized that it was just more than the prices. It was about an experience. And one of the things that I thought they did really well in was their, I guess, their feedback and their responsiveness with the customers, because they were constantly in connection with the customers. Like, what did you like about it? And they were getting their feedback. And I think that's a lot of businesses forget to do that, forget to, you know, forget that feedback. And so I thought that was awesome that they were able to do that with their customers.
Yeah, I think so too. Something else I thought that they did really well was like, so it said when they were doing that pitch to the designers, at first, like you said, they were kind of focusing on the price and everything. And then like a lot of the designers rejected them, and then they came back and they were like, all right, we need to stop pitching to them. We need to start listening to their concerns about the industry. And then a lot of the designers like tell them their concerns, and then they were like, all right, like now like we have a solution to your problem. So it was like we focused on the superior price. And then it was like saying how like before, like designer companies were having a hard time getting younger customers because only like the older women could afford the dresses, you know, and then they were like, well, renting the dresses through us would be a good idea because we can get the younger customers you want, build the loyalty, like Devin said, and then you're gonna have more people buy because of that brand recognition when you see like the girls renting dresses. So
Yeah. The next question, it says, where did the founders stumble and what should they have done differently? Does the order in which they took specific actions matter? I think where they stumbled was in the beginning. They had mentioned that they had, I can't remember the exact number. It was maybe like 10,000 or something. I can't remember how many dresses they had, but said like 60% of their dresses were being rented at the time, or 60 or 70, and which was great. But a lot of their market, they were going from 15 to 30 years old was their market segment, when it was, after getting feedback, it was like even more than that. A lot of their market segment was, you know, between 30 and 50 years old. And I think that's kind of where, I mean, it's hard to be able to judge that before, you know, having a business and before going through the motions. But I think they could have done a lot more market research before releasing their product lines. And I think if they would have done that sooner, then, you know, gather more information, they could have had a better line for the customers. So
Yeah, I agree. And they said that they had like 50,000 on a wait list to become members.
yeah.
And they had to cut that down to 5,000. So they just didn't, like, they had 45,000 ladies who wanted to become members of the website who would have ordered stuff, you know, probably like 12% of them would have ordered stuff, like it said.
Right.
So, and they only accepted 5,000 members. They got like 1,000 orders or something like that. And they didn't have, I mean, they only had like 1,000 different styles or units of dresses. So, I mean, if they would have, they couldn't really have known how much demand they had, but I feel like one of the stumbling points they had was not getting enough inventory because they had to turn a lot of people away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I guess any suggestion or any like different actions that they could have taken. I mean, I think just like you said, like more research in the beginning and more of, I guess, anticipating like such a big increase of customers. I mean, thinking about it, the exact same thing happened, you know, when Pokemon Go came out. It came out and it just spread like wildfire, and then they couldn't even keep up with it. And it just causes frustration with the customers. And so, yeah.
I did the IBC program 2 semesters ago. And we had a food business, and that was exactly the same problem we had. Because we're just kind of going off of like guesstimation, and like really after all the surveys and after everything, like it is all up to chance. I mean, like you're going to introduce a product and hopefully you have demand and hopefully you marketed it the right way and it solves the problem. And so, but it's kind of left up to chance. But there are certain things you can do to prepare for the, you know, better or for worse. And so I agree there. And that was our problem, was we had too high of a demand. And so we ran out of food immediately, you know, within like 2 hours. And then it's like, well, we just gave up, you know, half of our revenue we could have had that day because we
right.
So then we double our production, and then we did the same thing, and then we doubled production again, and we did the same thing. So like our entire first week, we were just out of food, you know, in the first, you know, little while. But I think taking that and running with it very quickly is what's important. So
I think it's just like a lot of businesses are just scared to overspend on their inventory and stuff like that. And I mean, it can hurt you a lot to spend too much and then have like, you know, leftovers because there's not high enough demand. But I don't know, it's just hard to find that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So next question is, how many rentals are necessary to recover the cost of an average dress, and how does early performance compare to this target? So in the trials, it said that the prices were between 35 to 75 plus a mandatory $4 for insurance charge. And then later on, when it wasn't like the trials, it was like, I think it said like a dress was anywhere from 50 to 300. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then there was like 13 or 15 bucks for shipping and insurance.
Yeah. Which question did you just read?
Number 2. Oh wait, am I reading?
Oh, you're on the prep assignment?
Yep, I'm on a prep assignment. That's cool.
I was confused. I was like, what is that?
All right, yeah. Yeah, next question is actually, have the founders of RTR validated their business model? What is a business model? Be specific. The reading highlights 4 components of a business model. I honestly, where did you guys find in the reading?
I didn't find those 4 things.
I didn't either. Like I was like, is there a textbook I don't have, or
What are the? I don't know what those abbreviations mean. CVP, GTM.
So I looked them up. CVP is basically break-even point. It's cost, volume, profit.
Okay.
It's basically where you break even, where you you didn't lose any money, but you didn't gain any money. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they did a pretty good job of that. They were on track to reach that pretty soon, I think. So.
Yeah.
And then GTM is go-to-market strategy, which is an action plan that specifies how a company will reach customers and achieve competitive advantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that was also good there. That they were on track for that. I think they did a good job implementing that.
So the first lady, so it was Jen Hyman. I think she was instrumental with the marketing because of her. She kind of like had the expertise in marketing and sales. She was really good at working with people, and working with those designer brands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I mean, I didn't see any readings that talked about the 4 components of a business model. Did you you guys didn't either?
No, I didn't see any. I mean, they talked about things similar to that, but not directly about those things.
Yeah. So not necessarily sure how we can answer this question. I mean, what does it mean to validate a business model? I think validating it, it's kind of self-explanatory to where you have a business model where you can prove that it works.
Yeah, it just depends on how much money you're making is whether you think it works.
Right.
Yeah.
And how do you know if it's validated? If it works or not, right?
Profits.
Yeah, I think cash speaks.
Yeah.
No.
So the key elements, I think, Jackson, you already kind of hit the point, was not just focusing on that low price. I mean, that's obviously essential, but creating the experience and, creating that special night for women, like making them feel like the most beautiful they've ever felt. I mean, they're going to return as a loyal customer if you can make that experience like what they want it to be.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's more than just focusing on that 10% cost or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to care. And as well, go ahead.
In addition to that, it's not just like you said. It's not just about the money, but the experience. But in addition to having an experience like that, it says a lot about a company. And it talked about this. I can't remember the specific numbers, but it was saying how like some percent of their customers were through, like they were gained through their marketing, and then another percent was gained through word of mouth. And basically it just goes to show that when you create a product that makes an experience that, you know, you want to go and tell that to your friends, and you want to advocate for the business because it had such a profound experience.
Yeah.
And so that's, you know, I just think of that as well, as it's not just about affecting those that are trying the brand, but also word of mouth with their friends. And so,
Yeah. So I think that one of the elements of their business model that was validated was, like you talked about, the marketing strategy. So it said that they had 40% of their customers or their new memberships were from referrals. So obviously the experience they're creating makes those women want to tell their friends. And so 40% from referrals alone is pretty good. And so that's like an obvious like validation of something they're doing right.
right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So how many times does a dress need to be rented in order to break even?
About 4.
Was it?
Yeah, I got 3.8 times from that exhibit, number 4.
Wait, like they have to, like they only have to rent out 4 dresses to break even?
No. What
Sorry,
I meant, so what it was is like it asks how many times for one dress, how many times do you have to have that dress rented out for it to break even on the cost of one dress.
Got it. That makes sense.
So for one dress, on average, it costs them like $225 to buy it and rent Runway. And then their margin. So they make like $90 revenue, and then like $31 is a cost. And then so that's like $59 revenue or profit, sorry. And so yeah, like 59 times 3.8 is about 225. So
got it. Devin, I think you got a lot of feedback going on there.
Sorry. Let me mute it. I'm gonna have to go get some headphones. I had to go outside. We've got company coming over, so.
Okay.
I'll mute you guys and go ahead and get some headphones real quick.
Yeah.
yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Yeah, so it says for a dress, it's usually about 8 days is like the cycle of how long the person will have it before they return it. And
Yeah,
then like,
and then there was the premium where you could do 15 or 10 days, was it?
yeah. So I like put in Excel like, so 8 days. So like on average, you rent out a dress. It takes 8 days to get it back, but you have to send 2 dresses each time for different sizes.
Right, I remember reading that.
So like the maximum that you can rent out a dress is like 45 times in a year. And then you send out like 2 dresses each time. So I just did some calculations and like how much profit they could, or like how much revenue they could possibly do if they sent a dress as many times as they could. So like 45 times in a year. And I forget what the numbers were, but.
Because then it asks, how many times has an average dress been rented during the first 2 months of operation? And it says, on average during the period, 60% of the dress inventory was out for rental. So that's, you know. And then what do these results imply about the viability of the business? Or in other words, are these promising results or concerning? I definitely think it's promising.
Yeah, I mean, mostly promising. The only thing that is concerning to me is like they're not really meeting the demand as well as they should.
Right.
Just because
Yeah.
they need more. I think they need to expand their inventory because they have so many like their competition is like minimal. Like there's only 2 other websites that do rentals like that they said of or they spoke of, and one of them is just accessories. The other one they said didn't have very good selection, so they could take like almost all of the market from those other 2 websites if they just get more inventory and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, definitely when it comes to, I guess, their business model, I think they are on track. And just like you said, they still have a lot. I mean, their demand when they started was just astronomical. And it was to the point where they couldn't even hit that demand, But here we are, 2 months after, and it's only 60% of their dress inventory is out for rental. So, like, it is good, but it still has a lot of room for improvement.
Mm. Yeah.
All right. The vote.
Hmm. I think it was a harder decision for me this time than the last 2 times.
Yeah.
But I think I think that they should accelerate the funding because I think they need to get more inventory because as word spreads about the company, because it's like referrals are going like really fast. I think they're gonna have an even like maybe double the year that they had the previous. So
Right.
for holiday, they probably need to double their inventory just because they don't want to run out again because there's going to be copycat companies, like they said,
Right.
who are going to try to copy them, and then they'll just steal their customers because they don't really have a loyalty to them yet. So they'll just go wherever they can get the dress they want.
Yeah. What I also had the same thought. Yes, there is a problem. There can be a problem with growing too quickly. In this case, I was looking at a few different factors, one of which was, or I guess their problems of growing is they need to raise additional equity for the new dresses or the new inventory, right? So there's that problem. And the additional problem was expanding their small management team because they only had basically eight employees running everything. So, raising additional equity, I don't think would be too much of a problem, as well as increasing their management team. Because just as we were discussing before, the demand is there. It's not that they're trying to sell themselves. It's already sold. They just aren't providing enough of the inventory or manpower to be able to meet the demand. And so I think that as they accelerate their business now, they'll be able to meet the demand now and in the future.
Yeah. I think along with what you said about finding management, I don't think it would be that hard because like I imagine in New York, the fashion industry, like people are dying to get jobs in that industry. I mean, especially like they have interns, and I mean, a lot of them are working for free. So as far as like operations go and like the warehouse stuff, I don't think they'll have a problem finding people to work there and not have to pay that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's important though to make sure that you've got the right people, and that's what I like about the last case study we did, where or maybe was that us that talked about that, how they put the right people in the right place. Maybe that was a different class.
I think it was Dropbox.
What's that?
I think it was the Dropbox case.
Yeah, Dropbox. And so they hire like overqualified people for the position. So that was just kind of my thoughts, was you like definitely, obviously they're having issues right now with handling everything. And so in order to scale and in order to come very quickly, they need the right people. Otherwise it's just going to flounder. And that was kind of my concern, but I agree with you that it is scalable, and it needs to, they need to do it now while they've got kind of this little niche that they can do. So
yeah, I agree.
Okay, awesome.
So we all think they should expand and get more funding to build up their inventory and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, do you guys think that they should do like accessories too?
I think they should focus primarily on the dresses and the demand for that first. And then in, a year's time or 2 years, then they should implement the accessories. But like expanding the accessories right now, I don't think that would be a good option.
Too much. Yeah, I think, like you said, in a year, once they meet the demand of all the dresses and see how well they do, then they can do the accessories. And I mean, even like shoes or something like that, they can make the rental a one-stop shop, like they were saying, where girls can get everything they need for their big night at the same place, and they can take a lot of customers from that other accessories place. But right now it'd be too much to do.
I agree.
All right, the vote has been decided.
Unanimous.
All right. I think we're done. Cool. See you guys on Wednesday?
Yep, Wednesday. I mean, anytime after 4 is fine, so we'll just coordinate.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
Awesome. Talk to you guys soon.
So Jackson, you found the video last time, okay?
Sorry, say that again?
Did you find the video on YouTube last time, okay?
Yeah, I did.
All right, sweet. All right, I'll just submit it again.
Okay,
awesome. You're the man.
All right, well, thanks, guys. We'll see you Wednesday.
Okay,
thanks,
sounds
Adam.
good.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.